Okay, everybody, we are live, and there's a lot to talk about tonight. We're the Reformers. I'm Christopher Webb, see Webb Online, and we have Casey, we have Milena, we have Lisa, and we have Chris, and we are waiting for our friend Adam. Oh, there he is. Let me add him to the stage, and Adam. So, Adam, how you doing? Can you hear us?
I can. Hopefully
okay, good.
You guys can hear me.
So it was funny. I was just talking to Casey over the, I think it was Sunday, and or maybe it was Monday. It was Monday, and I was like, I made a comment that give me one slow, boring day, and I felt like that was the whole weekend. I felt like the weekend was super chill, and I think also our pain threshold has gone way up. Like we could tolerate a lot more, so maybe that's part of it. And then all of a sudden, bam! Yesterday. Now we usually plan these lives over a period of a week. We make notes like this is happening, that's happening. Maybe we'll talk about this. And then it's subject to change based on what happens. And then all of a sudden that hearing yesterday, which was insane. And now we had always planned to talk about Epstein, but then that hearing with Pam Bondi, which was really supposed to be a general hearing about the Attorney General or the Department of Justice, because they were also supposed to talk about ICE. And I felt like very little, there was very little questions about ICE. It was mainly about the craziness with the DOJ and Epstein, the way they're handling that. And so now, so that was yesterday. By the end of the day, she became like an internet meme, crazy. I had a friend earlier today who's I'm not going to say he's apolitical, but he's not really, usually when I'm telling him stuff, it's the first time he's heard about it. So he's not really that plugged in. And he was like, Chris, come here. Did you hear about this woman? I don't know if I'm watching a comedy act or this is the Attorney General. So this is how it's hitting people. So let's put up, I want to put up something not too crazy. Well, we should start with this one. Just to add, let's comment on
survivors in the room. If you are willing, please stand. And if you are willing, please raise your hands if you have still not been able to meet with this Department of Justice. Please know for the record that every single survivor has raised their hand. Will you turn to the survivors? This is not about anybody that came before you. It is about you taking responsibility for your Department of Justice and the harm that it has done to the survivors who are standing right behind you and are waiting for you to turn to them and apologize for what your Department of Justice has done.
Members get to ask the questions, the witness gets to answer in the way they want to answer. The Attorney General can
That's
respond.
not accurate, Mr. Chairman.
Because she doesn't like the answer. So,
anyway, so this is the whole thing was craziness like this as far as her not answering questions. You would ask a question and then she was like, and you did this. So, but what did you all think of that? I thought that was so powerful.
I wish that she would have responded to Pam Bondi. These are women who were raped as girls, as children, and you don't have the heart to even look them in the eye, to turn around and address these victims. I wish that they would have pushed a little bit harder. I mean, I know that there's a certain decorum that they have in Congress, but these were children who were raped. They were raped.
Yeah, they need to get rid of that. They need to get rid of that old traditional way of behaving. We're in 2026 now, and you can show emotion, especially when we're talking about victims of child sex trafficking that haven't met with our Department of Justice yet. She won't even turn around and say something. Look at them, acknowledge them. Come on.
I thought it was really effective because I don't know that everybody knows that none of the survivors have really had any interface with the Department of Justice. And this is the big thing is where are the prosecutions? They're not even trying. It's really
I think
clear.
this is the same problem. We keep talking about this, which is the public assumes that the government will eventually do the right thing. The public assumes that because we have systems in place and a bureaucracy and all that, and inevitably these victims will receive some kind of justice. And I think that once again, calling attention to all of the deficiencies over and over is what we have to keep doing, because it's really hard for the public to believe that an executive is choosing to intentionally behave this way, that is choosing intentionally to overthrow our government with these authoritarian power grabs. He doesn't respect the Constitution or the democratic fabric of this nation, and it's really difficult for people to understand. I mean, I get it, that's valid. Like, I wouldn't want to believe it either, but I'm faced with it every day.
And I think we need to remind people again and again that there were 1,000 victims, 1,000, and they released information on over 100, their personal information, their names, their addresses. And some of these women have never gone public before. Their social security number, naked pictures of them as children. And the media is not talking about this enough. Our Department of Justice was distributing child pornography. That is astounding. That would bring down any administration, and she still has a job. That's outrageous to me.
I mean,
in that same vein, you have to mention that they also redacted some of the perpetrators, their names. So it was like they're exposing the victims, the survivors' names as children, and then protecting perpetrators.
If they expose the perpetrators, then they don't have leverage over them anymore. That's what this is about. What this is about is they are holding the leverage that Epstein had on the people that are the perpetrators. And what was so incredibly egregious was her demeanor shows that they have no plans to leave office, because her demeanor said that there will never be any repercussions to my actions. She is a lawyer, but she is she might not be a good lawyer, but she knows enough that there could be legal consequences. As many people have pointed out, Nixon didn't go to prison, but his attorney general did. And the fact that she acted the way she did shows that she does not think that that will ever happen to her.
Are we absolutely sure that she's the attorney general? Because I don't know, from the way she was talking, it sounded a lot more like the commerce secretary or the secretary of labor, where we can excuse raping children because the Dow is up. Woohoo! Oh,
do you have the clip of the clapback? Do we have that clip?
$50,000 instead of 50,000 points. It was,
and then he laughed.
No, the one where she said, "I'm the attorney general," and I think it was it Fallon? I don't know who it was that clapped back and said, "Well, it doesn't look like it to me." Like she was like, "Could have fooled me."
Someone referred to her as secretary.
Hold on. Well, let's
That's such a good one. But that was the point. Like, in real time, she was not behaving like an attorney general. In fact, they pointed it out. And I'm sure we'll get to this with Jasmine Crockett, but finally, people are just like, we're not even going to bother questioning you. You're not going to answer any questions. We're going to treat you as a hostile witness and start, exposing the truth here, because she knows better. She went to law school, and while it may not have been a top tier law school,
or a bottom tier law school.
Sorry. No offense. It's beautiful campus in St. Pete, lovely. But not Yale, sorry. I'm just saying, she went to law school. They're trained there. They know how to behave. She's done her job for a long time. No judge would let you get away with that. She knows what she's doing. So she made a choice to behave this way, which is just outward. Can you imagine any of us showing up to our jobs and behaving that way? Ugh, I can't.
This was a lawyer's tactic, and in my view, not a very good one. Maybe I went to a better law school than she did. I don't know.
I'm sure you did.
Unless it's a correspondence school.
Yeah. She was
University
running out the clock. Oh, my. Quick aside on that. Our house, once when we had our kids still living with us, got a call that our daughter had gotten a scholarship to the University of Phoenix. And my wife is, what are you talking about? Yes, she's 12. She was literally 12 at the time, and they were trying to tell us, "Oh yes, she's been accepted."
That's like Trump
So-
Trump University stuff right there. That's what that is. Anyway,
Oh
back to
my.
what you're saying.
That
Batman.
was not
my bad.
That was not good. Not good. But this was a tactic by Bondi. She was running out the clock. She was stalling. The problem was that it would have been a heck of a lot more effective if she had just droned on rather than making an ass of herself.
But she can't.
But
I think this is where she's not capable of doing that. Like, I don't think she's as capable as maybe some of the other people. Like, and we talked about this before, where, you know, part of the cabinet is staffed with people who actually did maybe like are very intelligent, or like maybe half is generous, but like some of Trump's administration, right? Like the Stephen Millers of the world, JD Vance, whatever. They're intelligent people. They're intelligent people. But then you have like Pete Hegseth and RFK Jr. and people who I wouldn't, you know, just maybe don't have the same skill set as those other people. And they're just there because they're Trump enthusiasts and they know how to get in front of a microphone and do this, which on a campaign trail is very effective. But in a court of law, when you're dealing with rape victims and survivors, that's not going to fly with people, especially with something that's as significant as this. Like, this is like going to be one of the biggest scandals in the history of our country. I don't think that's hyperbole at this point. And she's up there just acting like it's another day, and behaving this way. And the people at home and in the comments, I mean, you should see the comments from my threads. People were just outraged, and like Chris was saying, not just people who are really plugged in politically, people who are just adjacent to politics, or just, you know, if it gets on the news, maybe they see it, or they see it SNL scatter or whatever. They're wholly offended, as they should be, by what was such unprofessional behavior. But I think that that's their MO. That's like the Trump way. But now they're reaching a point where they've crossed the line because of, and we'll talk later about the other things, but this is it. Like, now they can't get away with this anymore. It's not going to work.
From a PR stance, it was a nightmare what she did. There are victims of
fact number one, abuse. Donald Trump is one of the most
there are victims of sexual abuse that are Democrats and Republicans. And they feel strongly about this. His voters, Trump voters, some of the people really believed him and Pam Bondi when they said that they are going to reveal all the people in the Epstein Files. And there were people very invested in that. And when they saw the callousness, and some of these victims themselves, some of the Epstein victims themselves voted for Trump. And they voted for him in the belief that these names would be revealed. And when they watch something like this, and the callousness of her not even turning around to look them in the eye, not even pretending to have compassion, it stabbed them in the heart, I think, for a lot of people. I'm a victim of sexual abuse myself. And when I saw the nastiness, the callousness of this, it made me crazy. It made me irate. And that's why we see some of these districts swinging to Democrats in ways that are unprecedented. A 37-point swing in Louisiana, a 31-point swing in Texas, in these local races. So,
I do think, which is, sorry about that, had a glitch, that we do need to be careful. I mean, there's a reason, right, that victims don't come forward. And what these women are being put through, and as we've mentioned before, there are hundreds, thousands of women in these files. And what we saw today was a grotesque, performative situation with Bondi. She is only beholden to Trump. That's very clear. I think we have to be careful, though, that these women are not pawns on both sides of the aisle of trying to make a point from both sides. You know, look at them, apologize to them, do this, while the other side is, you better apologize to Trump, you better do this to Trump. You know, how dare you say anything bad to Trump? There's a very fine line there.
Let's watch
I
this
don't think it's
exchange with Jasmine Crockett for a second. What's happening here? There we go.
Might have done with Jeffrey Epstein, but unlike this administration, I believe that facts matter. So let's talk about the facts. Fact number one, Donald Trump is one of the most named people in the Epstein Files. At least 5,000 files contains more than 38,000 references to Trump, his wife, or Mar-a-Lago. Fact number two, Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell made young girls available to Trump on multiple occasions. For example, according to this file, Ghislaine Maxwell presented a young girl to President Trump who spent more than 20 minutes apparently flirting with her. Here's another example. This shows notes from FBI investigators that describe Jeffrey Epstein transporting a victim to Mar-a-Lago to meet with President Trump, where he bragged to Trump that, quote, "This is a good one." Now, I'm not saying that the president is a pedophile, but there is a lot of evidence in these files that suggests that he's very close friends with a lot of men who are pedophiles. What's crazy about all of this is just that this is a big cover-up. And this administration is engaged in it. In fact, this administration is complicit. But there are numerous others, like how the DOJ is attempting to obstruct justice in the investigation of the rogue agents who have murdered American citizens, or how the DOJ seized voter data from Fulton County in an attempt to steal the 2026 midterm elections, or how federal agents have Tom Homan on tape accepting a bribe and your agency killed the investigation, or how your agency is ready to give the president a $230 million payday, which is unconstitutional. The Constitution is clear. The president shall not receive any payment except his salary while in office. The fact of the matter is that you will be remembered as one of the worst attorney generals in history. An attorney general who has prioritized obstruction over justice, corruption over the law, fealty to the president over loyalty to the Constitution. And Mr. Chairman, I will yield.
Gentlelady yields. Gentleman from Missouri is recognized. Excuse me, gentleman from Kansas, the Attorney General, former Attorney General, Mr. Schmidt is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and General Bondi, thanks for being here. Did you have anything you wanted to say before we talk?
I do. Thank you, Congressman. Thank you, my friend, for many years. I find it interesting that she didn't even want to try, Congresswoman Crockett, to ask any questions, because she certainly did not condemn her leader, Hakeem Jeffries, for taking money from Jeffrey Epstein after Epstein was convicted. And I will be brief to give you your time, Congressman. This is what she didn't want to talk about.
The burn books that she brought, the strategy that she employed.
The burn books. I do want to talk about that real quick, because like every time somebody said something, she comes back with a, you did this, or you're not talking about that. She doesn't answer questions. So this is.
We had seen it before when she was in front of the Senate last year. And it was surprising at the time, but these lawmakers were prepared for it, and they cut her off pretty quickly. That being said, what have we learned about what might be in those books? I know a couple of still photographers were able to grab still frames, including this one, yes. A close-up of something regarding Pramila Jayapal, who was one of the first people to ask her questions. What is it?
Well, first of all, let's credit our colleague Fallon Gallagher, who found this as we were discussing. A number of us have been discussing Bondi's use of these so-called burn books. The image that you're looking at right there shows on the inside front cover of that binder a one-page sheet that at the top says Jayapal Pramila search history. And then it lists a number of things that are EFTA, stands for Epstein Files Transparency Act, and a bunch of numbers after that. I can tell you from experience, that is how the Epstein Files have been produced in the Department of Justice's library. And then there are summaries of each of those documents, including one summary that hasn't been unredacted yet, but they are telling Pam Bondi, whoever prepared this document, who is in a particular exchange about a torture video. The image at the...
So what's crazy to me is that she has like stacks of these burn books with meticulous details about members of Congress and what they're relating to, but they can't even do a proper job on the Epstein Files. And I just think, I think she's telling on herself, and everyone there can see it. What did you guys think of? First of all, what did you think of Jasmine Crockett? But since she came back at her, let's talk about the burn books.
Before she even got into this, she was, I feel like it was masterful the way she handled this, because she recognized, number one, like, this woman's been giving, I want to call them macroaggressions, right? Like, they weren't even micro, like, just macroaggressions. She was treating all of the women of color, like, with much more hostility than she was already showing everybody else. And she was refusing to answer questions. So Jasmine Crockett's like, I'm going to make the most of my time here. And she turns to a colleague and she's just like, hey, is raping kids wrong? Yeah. Okay. And then just ask these very simple questions that everyone should be able to say yes or no to. And she's like, look, see how easy it is to just not be like someone protecting pedophiles? Great. And she just, so like, before she even got reading that statement, she'd already shown that Pam Bondi was just making a mockery of these hearings. And I think, if truly Jasmine Crockett is one of the best messengers this party has, and the way that she handles them and stays on task, right? Like, she doesn't get caught up in the fray. She stays focused. She stays on message. And I mean, some of that's just, she was an attorney and she knows what she's doing, but some of it's just, that's who she is. And it's really fun. Even amidst the circumstances, it's fun to watch, because finally we have somebody that can face the bullies, and beat them at their own game. And I'm so grateful that she was there to do that, because I'm having to watch that at home. It was just, we felt helpless, right? Like, how, I want to speak for everybody else, but it was like, I felt helpless. And then when I see somebody like Jasmine Crockett step up, I'm like, finally, God, okay. Right? Like, I think everybody did a good job, but I just want to say, like, she really just, the moments that she was up there, I felt like, okay. Yeah.
She understood the chair.
Kind of two things. Go ahead, Chris, please.
She understood the chair was only going to selectively enforce the rules and parliamentary procedure. And she, her speech was very calculated in that way. I agree with Casey that there was nothing to be had for asking her questions. And that was the most effective way to do it. Especially once you realize she's going to turn it around on me. Like, she's not only is she not answering the questions, she's bringing up my district, So anyway, go ahead, Adam.
Well, yeah, kind of two things on Jasmine Crockett. One, boy, was she right. I never thought I'd see the day where we had a worse attorney general than the masculine toilet guy. If you all remember him. And please tell me I don't have to explain that story, because, oh my God. Second thing is, when you're going to do cross-examination, and especially cross-examination of a hostile witness, what you want to do is you want to tell the story and just have them answer yes or no, right? So you say, well, isn't it true that all these members that Howard Lutnick went to Epstein Island? Yes. Isn't it true that Howard Lutnick did that after Epstein was convicted? Yes. Isn't it true he brought the nanny and his children and his wife, which I'm sure we're going to get to that at some point. And oh my God, but
so weird.
The idea is, forget it. And there's questions, of course, about whether the nanny that he brought was the same nanny that was referenced later on that might be of interest to Epstein. I mean, Lutnick is a whole different section. We could have a whole YouTube on him for an hour and a half. But if you're not going to get that witness to say yes or no, and Bondi clearly was not going to do that, right? She was going to filibuster and go on the attack. If that's going to be the case, don't even ask them the question. Ask the question to somebody else. Ask the question and answer it yourself. Get the story out. Unless you want to specifically have Bondi act like a clown. So that's,
I mean, it was, can we talk about the fact that I think Bondi was set up? I think she's like not the sharpest, because I think if you act like that, you have no self-awareness. And I think that means you're not that intelligent, in my opinion.
She was counseled to do this. Like, I am sure.
Absolutely.
I think she's the fall guy. She is the one. She's like securing her own demise. I honestly don't think she realizes this. She is going to take the fall for the Epstein debacle. Guaranteed.
She's not, but to Adam's point and what he was saying, this isn't far off from what they normally do. If you watch the way they deal with hearings and stuff, like their job is to monopolize that time and to distract and to get people enraged and to just basically do anything but talk about what the actual thing is that they're there to talk about. Like they're masters at doing this. And so this is what she's used to doing. And I'm sure they sat down and strategized this. And so she's like, yeah, that's about what we normally do. So that's fine. I'm not, like you said, Chris, not having the wherewithal to realize that like this is going to fall. This is come back to bite her. This is career ending. Not that she had.
And that was the point of those books. I mean, the books were filled with all kinds of attack points and rebuttal. I mean, you would think that you would prepare for the hearing.
She attacked my congresswoman for Culver City crime, and it's like I like what crime we do not have. Anyway, I'm not saying we don't have crime, but like there hasn't been a murder this year. It's that was so dumb. She's like, can I say one more thing? Culver City has crime. Come on.
Culver City's so beautiful. Like she doesn't know Culver. She's never been to Culver City. That's why.
So does the administration. So
yeah,
she can't even spell
Adam,
Culver City.
You mentioned the Commerce Secretary. Let's watch this clip.
Were you aware that
Oh boy.
This is Trump from today, I believe.
Commerce visited Epstein's island, and do you continue to have?
No, I wasn't aware of it. No, I didn't. I actually haven't spoken to him about it. I wasn't. But from what I hear, he was there with his wife and children. And I guess in some cases, some people were. I wasn't. I was never there.
So he just threw his Commerce Secretary under the bus, basically, because, I don't know about it. And then it's like, well, I wasn't there. I mean,
Somebody will someday say that. I was never there.
One thing I will give him credit for is he always frames answers in some people are saying.
Yeah.
And so that absolves him of everything.
But to your point, Chris, what you were saying earlier, Chris Q, that this is about like leverage, right? Like, so I really think this is what this is about. He knows who's done what, and he's going to start just throwing him under the bus, like wherever it suits him. This is what that was about, right? Wasn't there an article this week that said that he was in 2009 or 2006 that he had said that, oh, I'm glad you're looking into Epstein. Like, so he acknowledged he knew back then that there was wrongdoing. And why didn't he do anything about it? Because he was just grabbing all of this blackmail and extortion material for later.
He even said that Ghislaine is the evil one. Remember?
Right.
So
remember,
yeah.
He's not ruling out a pardon. So like, where's that? Like, come on.
He also wished her the best as well. So
yes, that's right.
He wasn't completely against her.
I wish her well.
I wish her well. That was extraordinary.
Okay, so speaking of pardons, most of the questions actually under my post, promoting tonight's show was, is he going to pardon Bondi, or is he going to just, he has tunnel vision for almost everything he does, which comes back to bite him. Will he throw her under the bus to take, because it seems like that's what's happening, or is he going to pardon her?
I have a question. I would like to submit something when you're done, because I want to see if the lawyer thinks I'm right. So once y'all have shared, I want to share mine and see if Adam thinks we're all right. I think that the people he's pardoned historically have benefited him, right? So January 6ers, why did he pardon them? Like half of them went to work for his administration or like on whatever is happening now, right? ICE. And so everything that he's ever done in aid of people has been for himself. And I don't see the benefit of helping Pam Bondi. So what I told people was like, yeah, I mean, anything's possible at this point. Like I no longer will I be bound by the rules of our system of government, because apparently no one else is. But what I will say is that I think we have to like take solace in the fact that he is somewhat predictable in his selfishness and his narcissism, and that he's only going to do what benefits him. And right now, I don't see him stepping out on a ledge for anyone, let alone Pam Bondi. So I think if I were her, I would be deeply worried right now? How does that, anybody want to share and see if Adam agrees with you too? Like,
Adam, thoughts?
anybody else want to share their thoughts about what's happening?
I was giving anybody else a chance to chime in.
I have one other question. I feel like all of these pardons that he has given are so corrupt. And what I'm curious about is, do you guys think that the Democrats will actually go after these people and go after him and go after the administration for all of their crimes, for all of their ICE crimes, for all of these pardon crimes and the corruption and the blackmail and all of the crypto crime that he's doing? Or do you think they'll just be like, oh, let's get on with it and forgive and forget and let's do our agenda? What do you think about that? That's my question.
Your question,
I mean,
presupposes that the Democrats will regain power, and that is not contingent on them winning an election. It's contingent on them actually regaining power, which are two separate things. And I'm sorry to have to say that at this point, but I think that is the reality we're living in.
Well, let me just throw this in real quick before Adam answers. And that is, in my other country, Argentina, there was a dictatorship for many, many years. But eventually, the dictatorship fell in Argentina, where they don't have the tradition of freedom like we do here in the United States. In Chile, it was through an election that dictatorship was overthrown. In Poland. So their dictatorship after dictatorship, eventually they do fall and eventually the power comes back. Hopefully it's sooner rather than later, but eventually we will get power again, eventually.
I think there will be an uprising if nothing
Adam,
happens.
you have some stuff to answer about.
Yeah. They put him on the spot.
That's
well,
okay. You know, it's
okay. Since we brought up pardons on January 6th, this is
Bondi. That man works for you now, right?
Oh boy.
Who was that, Congressman?
The man in that video, the one who was in the police-worn body cam footage, the one allegedly yelling "kill him" at police officers on January 6th. His name is Jared Wise.
He does work for us.
He works for you at the Department
Yes,
of
he
Justice.
January 6th.
This is an individual whom a federal grand jury indicted for 2 felonies and 4 misdemeanors related to his participation in the attack on January 6th. One of those charges was forcibly assaulting, resisting, opposing, impeding, intimidating, and interfering with police with the intent to commit another felony. This is who you choose as the chief law enforcement officer of the United States of America to hire at the Department of Justice. Someone on video yelling "kill him" at police officers, right?
I believe he was pardoned by President Trump.
Oh, he was pardoned. You're right. You're right. Pardoned by President Trump for his offense. Pardoned for yelling "kill him" at police officers. And yet you expect hardworking police officers across the country to believe that you take law enforcement seriously. You could imagine the reaction of so many folks across the country hearing the chief law enforcement officer of the United States refuse to even condemn what that individual whom you've now hired did. But in any event, let's talk a little bit about some of the other divisions within the Department of Justice and what's happened over the last year. You're familiar with the Public Integrity section of the DOJ's Criminal Division. I think it's referred to as PIN. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know which presidential administration under which the PIN was first created?
I can tell you what administration that the weaponization was ended under.
I'll reclaim my time. This wasn't a trick question.
You don't get to
Madam Attorney
reclaim
General.
your time.
Madam Attorney General.
Because I don't like it.
Mr. Chairman, will you explain to the witness that he does reclaim his time?
Because I don't answer.
So, do you think I feel like she said she was proud that he was pardoned.
Yes.
That was the tone.
They don't make mistakes. Haven't we learned this by now? They never make mistakes. They never apologize for anything because they don't have to. They're perfect. So
I don't know how they get
all
away
right.
with this.
Yeah. Oh, for God's sakes. So you want to throw that one on my plate as well, Chris? I'm happy. I'm ready. Throw them all at me.
You gotta catch them all.
So
here,
this is
I
how it's
want
going
to
to go.
address this comment. The Democrats are limp and powerless. The leftists are going to have to step up. So, I believe in holding Democrats to account. Okay, like holding them, or calling them out when we need to, because we haven't had, like, when we came out of the last election, 2024, there was deafening silence, and we were begging our representatives and our senators to fight. We wanted to see fight. You saw town halls where they were saying the same thing. I don't feel this is that. I feel like the Democrats, and I want y'all to talk on this. I felt like the Democrats did a good job yesterday. I thought, they could have addressed ICE a little more, or a lot more. But I thought they hit her hard, and she was just a hot mess. Or am I wrong? What do y'all think?
Well, remember, they just had a hearing the previous day on ICE with all the ICE leaders.
Right.
So
Sure.
I think this was kind of an Epstein day.
But I thought the Democrats were good, yesterday.
Yeah.
I thought they did a good job.
I thought Raskin was really good.
He was. There were a bunch of highlights,
always good.
and I shared some to my threads, and I will do a thread after this, and I'll thread in some more that I got clips of. But there's always pointers, and I don't think we should feel bad about suggesting or highlighting certain things that were efficient or maybe not. I think we should always be open to constructive feedback, and the Democrats should accept that. And so should everybody on threads and social media, right? But I mean, if overall, I felt I was pretty satisfied. Like maybe it's just my blind rage and hatred for Pam Bondi that's like overshadowing everything else. It could be that. But I just felt like, she was the problem, and that the Democrats showed up trying to get work done and were doing a good job trying to keep her.
I think a lot of people expect the Democrats to go and start some kind of civil war or something like that.
They're going to bring pitchforks and literal like fire to the floor of Congress.
and
is what they think.
torches and
Yeah.
I mean, there's unreasonable.
I'm sorry, didn't we do that in 2020 already? Have we been through that already?
The irony of Jim Jordan. Oh God.
You can get pardoned for it.
Oh
So
God.
Apparently.
But I think that the Democrats are doing what they can, and there are some real standout Democrats that are really working extremely hard. People like Robert Garcia, and there are some people who are not working enough, like Chuck Schumer. Okay, and maybe
I don't think work and Chuck Schumer should be in the same sentence, honestly.
He does whatever. I don't know. There's some work, but it's probably behind the scenes that we're not seeing.
I feel like he's helping the Republicans. That's what his work is. He's helping the other side.
I had a hard time watching the influencers this week that went to DC, which is where I live. But they had some sort of an event, and a bunch of influencers showed up, like all the political people, the people that do like what I do, basically content creators. And there were all these people like smiling with Schumer, and I was like, it couldn't be me. Would never be me at this. Yeah. Why would you want a picture with him? Like I don't.
Oh
I
my
honestly
dudes.
don't care what you've done in the past, but like right now. Sorry, that's just, I'm having a hard time with anybody suggesting I have to respect someone just because they're a senator. Like that's welcome to 2026. We don't give a fuck. Like we really don't. You need to do your job.
He is harming the party. You can respect him if
we would be better.
He has a lifetime of service, but I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about 2026.
And someone said we'd be better off without anybody in that seat. And that is 100% correct. And whenever you 100%. Say something like that, where we would be better without anybody there, then you're doing more harm than good. And we are allowed to be pissed about that.
But
we know he is never going to willingly step down. Someone needs to step up. And that is what we need. We need someone, a Chris Murphy, he would be my pick, but there are plenty of others, to step up and
they're all trying to run for.
They're going to run for president.
President.
There are some people. There are many senators to blame, though. I mean, Chuck Schumer at least was voting in the right way, unlike people like Shaheen or Chris Kane, or there were 8 senators who voted.
Wait,
Some
you
guy
meant
with a
Tim
hoodie.
Kaine, right? I want to make sure we're
That's
slandering the
Roseanne.
right person. Tim Kaine.
That's mine.
Tim Kaine. Sorry,
I just want to
sorry,
make sure we get him in trouble correctly here. Thank
Tim
you.
Kaine. Yeah. Was it Mark Warner? Did Mark Warner vote?
No, he actually did the right thing. So
Okay.
Mark Warner's been on it. In fact, he was just talking about election security just now. I saw like a pop-up thing. He's been doing videos. He's just a little late. He's like about 12 to 24 hours late on some of the videos, but like he's there. Like he's right in the fray, like getting mad about it. So like good for him. Like, but he's running again, and I'm not so sure Tim Kaine will after this term. And I think that that's the difference that we're seeing right now. Because he's mentioned that he's running. He said that he's running for election this next coming up. So
and Durbin, I know Durbin was one of them.
Yeah.
He's also not running.
A lot of those people weren't. Yeah.
The only good news I can give you is I am 100% certain that John Fetterman will, at bare minimum, not be the Democratic nominee next time. So
I think that you are absolutely right about that.
Unfortunately,
So,
that's
thank
not
God.
until 2028.
Right.
we might not keep that seat, but I assure you he will be a one-term senator.
I mean, he votes with Republicans at this point. So is it really a loss?
He's alive.
Okay, let's watch this moment real quick.
Has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. This has been the most transparent presidency.
I'm going to put up another document from a witness who called the FBI's National Threat Operations Center, because I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein Files.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath, and this is all on videotape. You said there's no evidence of a crime. I'm showing you. Here is a witness statement who called into the FBI's Threat Operations Center. He drove Donald Trump around in a limo. He overheard what Donald Trump said to Jeffrey on his cell phone. He was so angry, he was going to stop the limo and hurt Donald Trump. And he met a girl who said she was raped by Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. She later had her head blown off, and officers at the scene said that could not have been suicide.
I want to mention that this was in the previous Epstein files. That 1% we got, this was not new. So this is known. I mean, newish, but it was, when the first dump came out.
No one at the Department of Justice interviewed this witness. You need to interview this witness immediately. Epstein should rot in hell. So should the men who patronized his operation. And as we sit here today, there are over 1,000 trafficking victims, and you have not held a single man accountable. Shame on you. If you had any decency, you would resign right after this hearing.
There is no evidence.
So he nailed it.
Headley did a good job.
Really good
He did a great
moment.
job.
Yeah.
But can I just say, it would be, and I tweeted this too, because I really believe it, it would be much more effective, this sub-righteous indignation, if you had not elected and chosen your leader who is a criminal, a felon. How are you getting so upset that someone's accused you of a crime? You're following a man that's been convicted of them. Like, what? Like, I don't.
And probably would have been convicted of more had those investigations and cases been able to go to completion before the Supreme Court stopped them and said, Donald Trump put us in office. We should make him immune. Or
where there's smoke, there's
allegedly.
wildfires, right? Like, yeah.
It's clear. It's clear with the documents case that he stole classified documents and stored them, if you can call it that, in a manner where pretty much anybody could access them. And there's the little matter of the insurrection, which, some people might think that trying to overthrow your government is somehow criminal.
Letting them hang his
there are
vice
people
president.
that believe that.
I have a problem.
The one
So
thing
real
I
quick, go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
that Bondi slipped on was saying that there are open investigations, and there should have been a major follow-up of really, because you said that this was case closed. We need to move on. President Trump has said that. So let me follow up on that. Who are we investigating? How many people are we investigating? How long have those investigations been going on? And that needs to be followed up on.
What I want to ask is, there are all of these entries in the Epstein files that are not being covered in the news, but are incredibly salacious and despicable, like absolutely gross, like the Calendar Girls entry. And when I told my mom about that, and she's been kind of following it, you know, she's sort of political. She gets her politics from like Colbert and stuff like that, but she's definitely a Democrat, definitely strongly against Trump. And she's like, where did you find that? Is that real? And I said, it's in the Epstein files. And for some reason, the media, I mean, it is vile because it's mentioning female genitalia and him measuring that with his finger. And nobody is covering that. And it is such an incredible outrage for these victims and for, you know, for women and victims of assault everywhere, that they are not mentioning that. And that he, the president, is getting off with nobody even knowing that that was in the Epstein files. I mean, you're just not going to mention that he was auctioning little girls off? I mean, that's the craziest thing.
I think at this point they know it's all gonna come out.
As horrifying and as triggering all of this is to all of us out there that have been through something like this, it's for our own media not to be covering this as much as they should be. It's very hard to hear. It's extremely hard to hear. And I just give so much grace to the survivors. I do hope and pray that the other countries that are pursuing charges and are holding their perpetrators accountable, I hope they blow these cases wide open. And even though he won't show up, I hope they hold Trump accountable and subpoena his ass, and everyone else in the United States. I hope they hold them accountable. And if King Charles is, as Michelle pointed out in the chat, if King Charles is holding his own brother accountable, I hope they blow it sky high and they release all the unredacted names and just blow it all up.
I could see Andrew Mountbatten Windsor doing prison time. I've thought that for a minute because they don't seem to be giving him any grace at all. I mean, I guess a little. They gave him a house. They transferred him to the countryside, but like I think he's.
I mean, but for the monarchy, you're right. Like that was the equivalent of like, bye, you're on your own. That's I think is as low as they can go.
I want everybody. So we saw Pam Bondi yesterday. We saw how she's really the protector of this administration when it comes to the Epstein files, the protector of rich and powerful men. And this is her campaign video.
Third nationally and calls for help for human trafficking, where young women and children are enslaved and abused. I knew we needed all hands on deck. Businesses and hospitals to spot it, our great law enforcement to stop it, and tougher penalties to punish it. We're taking on Medicaid fraud, pill mills, gangs, and more. And I'll fight to put human trafficking monsters where they belong, behind bars.
Did you hear that? She said she's going to fight to put human trafficking monsters behind bars. I believe that was in 2016. Maybe it was 2013. But like, where is that? First of all, I don't believe that was genuine. But if it was, where is that Pam Bondi right now?
And then she's protecting the biggest trafficking nightmare on the planet.
I mean, did you ever think that she was going to buck Trump? I know that she testified in her confirmation hearing that, oh, yes, I will absolutely be independent. I will absolutely go against the wishes of the president if it is antithetical to the Constitution. But did anybody ever believe that that was going to be the case? I certainly didn't.
I just want to say one thing. When I go to the supermarket or when I'm out walking the dog and I pass someone, especially if I suspect they're MAGA, I'll like pretend like I'm on my phone. And I'll be like, I walk through the supermarket and I'm either on the phone or pretending to be, I'm like, Trump was in the Epstein Files 1,000,000 times. What?
Which I'm glad you brought that up because it was supposed to be 3,500, and then a couple days ago we found out it was 1,000,000 times.
38,000. It went up from 38,000 to 1,000,000.
Yeah.
1,000,000. 1,000,000.
It's
So,
more
the
times
other
I put
thing
my
about
video,
Pam
more
Bondi-
times than Jesus' name is mentioned in the Bible. That's crazy.
The other thing
Crazy.
in Pam Bondi's past was Florida was part of a coalition of states that were suing Trump University because Floridians were harmed. They were filing complaints, and Casey, okay. And so this is about that.
Is open for business.
I am a career prosecutor. I am proud of my career.
Tonight, Pam Bondi on the defensive.
I will never let any money of anyone affect what I do.
At issue, whether Donald Trump's $25,000 donation to Bondi's campaign influenced her decision not to investigate fraud allegations against Trump University.
There was nothing improper about it.
So she solicited a campaign donation from Trump, and she got it, $25,000, and then the case goes away. So at least as far as Florida goes, it still proceeded, but Florida was not part of it. So she has a history, and you know what? Let's play a little more because.
So there was no reason to return it.
Bondi's impassioned press conference comes months after pay-to-play questions were first raised, and after the scandal blew up in the national media.
There was never an investigation into Donald Trump by this office.
Bondi says her office didn't investigate Trump University because there was only one complaint from one citizen in Florida.
I've met him before I was Attorney General. I've met his kids, not all of them. I know Don and Ivanka. I met him before I was Attorney General. I think I actually met him in college, but I didn't know him well then at all.
But she also admits she has a comfortable relationship with Donald Trump and his family.
I've been friends with, I respect him. I respect his family. I know his daughter. I'm sure I was calling multiple friends and family because I was campaigning, just like every.
So I think it's interesting she actually admits all that. But then the other thing is you realize why Donald Trump chose her as his attorney general. He wasn't going to make the same mistake twice.
But the irony of the Trump University thing is her father. So if you're not aware, her father was an education professor. And he literally wrote the book on middle schools. So moving the country away from a junior high model to middle schools. And it was a book that was taught in education classrooms for teachers across the country for a generation. And the idea that she, of all people, would not pursue Trump University coming from that pedigree is just so telling.
Well, I think that Trump, he gets people to do illegal things and then he uses that against them. So, he gave her a $25,000 donation for her campaign. And then now she's, she knows that was wrong. And he probably knows. And maybe he even got it on tape or something like that. And now he's using it against her forever. And that's how he gets people. I mean, that's my perspective on it.
And isn't it crazy that it only took $25,000 to buy her?
Well, money was different in Florida back then, just so you know. You used to be able to buy a house for $150,000. It's
yeah.
I'm just wondering if it would have actually been any worse if Matt Gaetz had gone through and been the attorney general. I mean, it would have been, more symmetry for Trump because, I mean, as we all know, Matt Gaetz is allegedly a pedophile and, Trump is allegedly a pedophile. So, it would seem to have been a better match. But, I mean, could it have been any worse? I don't know. I'm joking, everybody out there, but you get the point.
Think of all the pedophiles in his circle. Think of all the criminals in his circle. Think of all the criminals in his administration. It is astounding.
He
Mind-boggling.
was mentored by Roy Cohn, so he has known this life his whole life. Between his father and Roy Cohn, this is all he's ever known.
Yeah.
But it's so, does she hear herself though? Just as a woman. The stuff she was saying today, it's just fucking humiliating. The words coming out of her mouth.
I have
about what she
relatives like
said.
this. Honestly, Lisa, I have relatives like this. I have relatives who have also been SA'd that are like this. And I will tell you that a lot of times, like, these are people who do struggle, like, in terms of critical thinking skills. Like, they really are, like, it's harder for them. They are the people that are going to be the first ones, like, in the door through a cult or something like that. They're much more easily manipulated. And unfortunately, like, survivors of abuse sometimes seek that out again because that's
But
what
do
they
we know that she's been
I'm not
through
saying
that?
she
I don't
is, but
wanna give
I
her
was
that
saying
kind of
to you're
leeway.
right. You're right. And I'm not to her. I was speaking of my family members and I was thinking, like, because I'm like, well, that I guess, like, but it's really hard to watch people come and defend things like this. No, and you just think, like, you're a professional, how? But then you think about some of the other things, you know, and you go, okay, well, so this isn't, I'm not making her a victim in the sense that we need to feel sorry for her, but what we can do is understand how she's being manipulated, right? And like how that works
No, I'm
for
not
him.
giving her that kind of grace.
Just
I
like
will
the rest
I
not
don't
of them
think
in
it's
this
grace
country.
though. I don't think it's grace. I think she's just as villainous as the rest of them, but I think she's being manipulated.
I think she's a sociopath. I think
Yeah,
That's
she's
probably
a
true.
sociopath.
she's a
Just
fucking
like
psychopath. For her to put other actual victims through this ongoing nightmare.
I mean, but look at what cults do, man. Like, people are brainwashed and indoctrinated to do some of the most heinous, awful things. Again, they're not excused from liability and culpability, but a movement can do that. And I think that we need to keep remembering that, like, that's what this is, and that's what he is, and that's how thick and deep this runs, and how perverse it is, and dark it is because they're at this net. There's a network, like Milena was just saying, like how it spider webs out, and there's so many people connected to this. Like, I just, it's not going to be as simple as just simply being like, okay, well, the next president's up and everything, you know, it's like, this is going to be a lot of deconstruction, a lot of like, we're gonna have to, for the first time in our country, actually stop and hold people accountable, because we haven't done that. And you know, I've yelled about this for a long time. It's like, this is why we didn't do anything after the Civil War, right? We didn't do anything after, like, even the civil rights movement, in terms of like holding people accountable. We just, as a nation, kind of agree, like, I guess maybe we'll just leave some statues up in the South, right? Like, we don't we don't do enough to shame people and hold people accountable, so that other people are like, you know, it's not a good idea to start a child sex trafficking ring. Like, it's not, I'm not going to do that. We don't hold these people accountable because they're all the wealthiest people in power, and they find a way to, like, wriggle out. So I'm for just locking them all up. I was telling Chris was said the other day, and I agreed with him. You were like, look, I'm usually a fan of the Constitution, but at this point I say, just, like, put them in jail and we'll figure out what to do with them later. Like, no due process.
I mean, you know what? Honestly, they don't care about the Constitution. We have enough evidence.
Match that energy. Let's
deal with it later.
Treat them the way they
But you know what?
The lawyers coming after us.
Pardon's null and void.
You can have your way in a second. But I just want to address this thing. Maybe Pam Bondi is a pedo. I don't think she is. But the way she acts, it does make you think, okay, is she in the Epstein Files? Is she, you know?
She's been protecting them
there
for
are
a long
women
time.
She's like a Ghislaine Maxwell.
Survivors. There are women. Ghislaine Maxwell was the main perpetrator here. She delivered.
That's why I said they
roles.
can't be redacting women's names just because they're women's names. Like,
right.
Ghislaine's like the head here.
Like his last,
you know, it's really,
they had her reacted for the longest time, and she's literally the one with his fortune right now. And they had her face blacked out and her name redacted, and she is living large right now, big time. And they finally aren't covering her up anymore. I don't believe for a second Pam Bondi is like in some sort of cult fogginess. I think she is part of the leadership of the cult, and that the others that follow along, and I'm talking about in Magaland, perhaps they are part of the sheep in it. But Bondi, no, I think
Well,
he is
everybody
at
buys
the
into
top of
it.
the pyramid of the cult. I am not at all going to excuse her evil or anything she has done to protect the people. Trump is mentioned over 1 million times in this shit, and she is protecting him with her life
Right.
at this moment.
It's not an excuse, it's an explanation. And that's what I'm saying. I think every, even the evil organization, like, even if you go back into the different, like Nazi Germany and we go beyond, there's always people who they believe what they're doing is righteous. Like they may have the wherewithal to know that it's not accepted socially, but they believe in this mission, like, right? Go back and read the writings of the people in the eugenics movement. Like it's crazy shit, right? Like it's awful, but they believed it, and that is harder to deal with, like because they double down, they triple down, they whatever. It's not even that they don't know right from wrong, it's that they believe what they're doing is right, and that's the most terrifying part to me, is that like a lot of these people genuinely believe what they're doing isn't wrong. That's
what's
horrifying.
What's really scary and sad, so sad, that there are so many people across the country that are not talking to their family members. There's so many people that have abandoned their family for this man, this pedophile, and they still have their Trump flags out to this day, even after all of this, and they have abandoned everyone in their life, and they think they're right, and they think we're the wrong ones, that we're the bad ones.
Wild.
It's crazy.
So we are going to move on to our next topic, but before we do, let's hit on Marjorie Taylor Greene a little bit, because she has some info. I mean, she called it out. What's that?
Can we rephrase that?
Maybe rephrase that.
Let's talk about our former congresswoman that we don't like. Anyway, I'm going to play this. Hold on.
What do you think he meant by that? And how do you know, do you know what he was talking about?
Yeah, what was he talking about?
I don't know, but that statement bothered me deeply. I don't know who the friends are, and
sorry, let me go.
You say Trump called you and furiously said, quote, "My friends will get hurt." What do you think he meant by that? And how do you know, do you know what he was talking about?
Yeah, what was he talking about?
I don't know, but that statement bothered me deeply. I don't know who the friends are, and I can't understand why anyone would protect their friends or protect any people that were guilty of abusing, trafficking, raping these girls. There's like 1,200 of them?
Yeah. Wow.
1,200. He was angry at me because I signed the discharge petition and refused to take my name off the discharge petition.
Good for you.
Ask that you take your name off the discharge petition?
Oh, yes. We were being demanded to take our name off the discharge petition. Talk about the Epstein Files, and
that first clip from The View was in January. This is in December. So keep that in mind.
We did talk about the Epstein Files, and he was extremely angry at me that I had signed the discharge petition to release the files. I fully believe that those women deserve everything they're asking. They're asking for all of it to come out. They deserve it. And he was furious with me.
What did he say?
He said that it was going to hurt people.
So you notice in December, she said it was going to hurt people. And then she got a little more forthcoming in January and said it was going to hurt his friends. And I think that both are true, but I think the truth is he's protecting people, including himself. So what do y'all got to say about that, or should we move on?
Why you gotta make me agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene? I just
think she called it out, and I think it's worth.
She's been consistent about that, and I will say, like, Marjorie Taylor Greene is a good example of the theater of the GOP. Like, she's a great example of how they go find candidates and groom them to go spread their hateful message and get up and make all this fuss. But when you take her out of that, now she's speaking like a normal human being, right? Like, because it was theater, because so much of what they do, they know is ridiculous, but they have a larger agenda to get to, and they play the part. And so I don't trust her as far as I can throw her, but I'm gonna let her try to help us get the victims justice, right? Like the survivors, like bring their stories to the forefront, right? Like make it about the survivors. If we have to build a coalition with Marjorie Taylor Greene, so be it. Like that's fine. I again don't trust her, but if it's on this one issue, if it's in aid of the survivors getting the justice that they deserve, absolutely. We say welcome in, Marjorie. Welcome in, Marge. Come on in.
Hey, you're looking at the wrong guy if you're asking me to really trust anything with Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't trust George Conway, and George Conway has been anti-Trump literally from day one of the first term. The reason I don't trust George Conway is obviously because Kellyanne, and also because before he married Kellyanne, he dated Ann Coulter. George Conway created this Frankenstein.
Yeah.
And when the Frankenstein turned on him, when the leopard went to eat his face, he went full bore the other way. Now, I do give him a ton of credit. Now. He's been really good. Huh?
You know he's a Democrat now and running for Congress.
I know, and he's running for office. Right. I mean, that'll be a very interesting race to watch. But Chris, can we talk about something that every American can agree on, an all-American event that there can be absolutely no disagreement on, something that it occurs on a Sunday in February, that we all love football, that there could be no possible issue about. Can we talk about that? No.
We can talk about, yes, this is our next.
No.
So we're going to talk about, before we get that, I want to address.
I tried.
So we had this
come
out on February 6th. It was a video that Trump posted on his Truth Social account. And this was like the end of the video. We've all seen this by now. And I just want to say, as a black man, as a black person, this was like excruciating to see. So upset. I saw it, actually, I think it was Thursday, because I think it was after our last live, and I saw it and I was just like, oh my God. So that's one side of it. The other side of it was the reaction. For me, it was kind of a relief to see people on his side actually come out and say, you know what, man, this is too much. This is actually racist. Because for years, when you call Trump racist, you have this chorus of people like, he's not racist. And even he's like, I'm the least racist man, in the country or in the world. But what's been happening all this time with black people, he's been racist. He has a history of this with his, denial of apartment rentals. And he was sued for that. The Central Park 5, birtherism. There's like a long hit. You don't have to look a lot, to find this stuff. People deny it. So I was very happy that I'm calling it the mask was off, right? But this goes deeper with his relationship with black people, his relationship with all people of color. It's really who gets to call themselves an American. Okay, so you could be a black man in this country who can trace their roots back hundreds of years, more than a lot of white people, but I'm less American than Mr. Trump, who his parents are foreigner. They came from another country. So I think that's what this has all been about, otherizing people. And we have this came out. This was Tea Party shit. These were protests during Obama, after Obama was elected and inaugurated, the Tea Party formed, and these were the kind of protests. They went along with the birtherism, and he's from Kenya, and then magically it went away when Trump was elected. There was no Tea Party when Trump became the president. So I wanted to talk about this tonight because it's just like, finally the mask is off. People are talking about it. And racism is a subject that people don't like to talk about. And one more thing, last night or the night before, he posted on his Truth Social his history of relationships with black people. So he had pictures of himself in videos with black celebrities, Oprah, Mike Tyson, etc. And, you know, to me, I immediately thought like, oh, I can't be racist because I have Black friends. And this is like, if you say that, you're a bigot. Like, that is not a good line.
I don't know how much credit I want to give to Republicans when indicative of their response were things like what Senator Tim Scott said, which he couched it. He couched it by saying, I hope this wasn't real. I hope it was a mistake. I hope it was fake. It wasn't outright indignation. It was giving him a pass, even in criticizing what was posted.
But that, not only that, Chris, I think that that's really important, but it also gave like marching orders to other MAGA people who then were like, well, it wasn't intentional, or it was obviously somebody else posted it, right? Like, it gave them an entryway into, like, you know, plausible deniability. And that's what they went with overwhelmingly. That was what, like, the people who did defend it were saying, oh, it wasn't like on purpose. It was, he just played a different part of a video, and obviously he wouldn't have meant that. And I think it's really important to show that, like, how people do look to those politicians for their marching orders, like what they're going to say.
Can I just say, he has been for years calling Latinos rapists, drug lords, animals, inhuman, poisoning the blood of our nation, using the language of Nazis. And there have been, and look at what he's doing to the Hispanic community and the Black community. He's going and he's brutalizing entire communities. And there is not one elected Republican who's saying, enough, stop this. This is racist. This is hate. This is hate speech. Not one. And in my opinion, if you are silent about this kind of racism and this Nazism, then you are culpable. Silence 100%. Is complicity.
Absolutely.
Donald John Trump, call for a ban of all Muslims. Can't even say Muslim right. And then he enacted one.
This was, as somebody on the spectrum, this was one of the, like, I just wanted to punch a wall, because the idea that we didn't use our pattern recognition to clock every single time that he has clearly, like, targeted marginalized group, basically, unless you're a white man, right? Like that, I mean, that's what they're doing. And to try to act, that's exactly right. And to act as if that we didn't all see that the last however many, I mean, this goes beyond when he was president. Obviously he's been like this forever. And I was insulted. I felt insulted on top of the fact that I was nauseated by how gross it was, but I was also insulted because I was like, how, I saw it with my own eyes. I heard it with my own ears. And now you're acting as if this is just some sort of like whoopsie-daisy. Like, I
really, because I just want everyone to know this is not new. This has been, we've been clocking this for years.
But I feel like the Democrats really need to go after them harder.
Yeah.
And come out and say,
well, I think there's just been this taboo, like, to use the word, to call someone racist. It's just, I think politicians are terrified of saying that. And I see that, and I wish they would more.
And it's part of it's part of what was happening after you know, George Floyd's murder. After that, there was this movement in white groups on Facebook, and I'm just going to say because I was watching it, and it was like this acknowledgement, like we were reading How to Be an Anti-Racist, right? Like, and there was this kind of understanding that, like, look, you benefit from this, so you are inherently racist in the way that you benefit from this structure. Like, the systemic racism is there. And I think we were doing a good job of kind of owning that. Like, this is when, like, now Biden comes into office, and so people are starting to go, okay, like, I'm more comfortable acknowledging that racism and working to deconstruct from it. And it became less taboo for like a little, like a whisper of a time. It became less taboo because it was like, we're owning that and trying to deconstruct from it so that we can eliminate these racist, like these systemic racist policies And then, of course, now here comes, MAGA back into the picture frame, right? Comes back Trump. Not saying that it didn't exist before and it won't exist after, but he emboldens it. Like, that's intentional. He wants this. They're all up in that eugenics. They believe in it wholeheartedly. They just don't say the words. And that's why the Democrats, to your point, Milena, need to say the words. Like, they have to say the words out loud, because people have to get comfortable with the fact that that's not like the reality. And by the way, the escapism from that reality, it's not just racism. It's like every other point, right? How we're always trying to hit home the reality of, and they always escape it. Why? Because we don't say it. We can't assume that people understand. It's like the same thing with the Epstein survivors. We can't just assume that people know how bad this is. We have to go through every single thing. And that's what people don't want to do, because they want to look away, because they're fatigued and because they're overwhelmed and because they themselves have maybe been victimized. But we kind of all have to collectively get together and say, like, we can't assume people know anything at this point, and we can't not say those words. So I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but that's where I'm
and
at
not
with it.
just Democrats, by the way, because I'm in Texas, and as horrible as George W. Bush was, when he was governor here and even as president, he was very welcoming of immigrants. He had videos. Thomas just put one out the other day, how important and vital immigrants were to American economy, to everything. And the fact that a former president, of all of our former presidents, he's the one that should be speaking out right now, because he's a former Republican president. Not just that, but his brother Jeb is married to a Mexican immigrant, a Mexican immigrant success story, Columba, right? She's a Mexican immigrant who became the first lady of Florida. Her son, George P. Bush, ran for president.
Isn't he MAGA? Isn't the son MAGA?
Yes, that's my point. They are Republicans who should be speaking out against what their own party is doing right now, and they're not.
He loved Michelle Obama. Like, he loved her. They're doing, have you been on TikTok, Lisa? Have you seen the videos? They're doing love reels, like, of George Bush, and they're being like, remember how we thought this was the worst there ever could be? And it's like all these
the Obamas and the Bushes are great friends, and they're saying nothing. Their silence is complicity right now, considering what their own party is doing, trying to tear down this country, and it's so detrimental.
Here's the other element that we should address too, because we're all on social media. It's really slanted against us, because I'll just take X for example. You will not get banned for using the N-word. And I'll tell you, because it's been directed at me numerous times. I used to report it. Wow. I think I've got it taken down twice. And I've been on X since 2011. I get called the N-word like every day in replies and DMs. And the times I did get it taken down, it was only because I rallied a bunch of people to report it and it got taken down. Now, if you call Melania Trump a hoe, you'll get taken down, because I have a friend that happened to. So it's just our social media elements are really, really on the right. They really are. They favor the right. And you can see, you can look at the hate speech that you see on X. It's not taken down. It's anti-Semitic. There's racist speech. I'm using myself as an example because, for example, on TikTok, I post about race and social justice all the time. My posts on TikTok at this point are extremely benign, because I used to get taken down all the time for posting about race. And I got mass reported. Instead of them doing the proper thing, which is actually look at my post before making a decision, they would just take it down. And it was like crazy trying to get reinstalled, to the point where I had a permanent warning that only I could see that you're in danger of losing your account.
That's how TikTok was for me. And I'm sure Milena, and I'm sure anybody else that posts. Yeah. Like it's a nightmare.
Terrible.
So, and if you look at the owners of these platforms, Meta, or the heads of these platforms, Meta, X, they're right wing. So who, like, really, we have even on cable news at this point, MS Now is pretty much all we have. On social media, I would say Blue Sky. What else, you guys? As far as like being
Blue
left
Sky is owned by libertarians, so
they're crypto libertarians, yes, but they still
Threads is definitely liberal leaning. Now there's Upscrolled. I haven't been on it, but that's very left. I mean, I got an account, but I haven't actually scrolled. But that's supposed to be very left leaning. But you know what the problem with this too is it's not just that it's like these are right like leaning, it's that the way the algorithms are set up is that they sort of protect you in a way from seeing a lot of that. Because if you decide, oh, this is horrible on Facebook and you don't want to see those racist comments, then you can just kind of dip out of that. And so people are intentionally looking away and then they don't ever see it again. And so they don't know that some of this like real flagrant awful like racism is existing because it's not on their page. And that's the other problem, is that this is why sometimes I do call outs and I put things in my videos, because I'm like, you are so sheltered that you may not be seeing it. And it's important for you to know, especially if you're somebody that looks like me. Like if you're a white person, you're maybe not facing that on a regular, you're not seeing it on a regular basis. Maybe your friends aren't telling you about it because it's not something that's comfortable to talk about, and it shouldn't be put on the backs of marginalized people to do it. So I think that it's twofold. It's like, yes, it's all conservative, but then it also I mean, I don't know how much that's true of Twitter because that's like a cesspool, but I just mean like, Facebook, you can definitely navigate around some of that for sure.
I mean,
unless it's my comment section. If you come to my comment section, you can.
All of our government agencies now tweet policy out of X, so you can't say anything bad about them on X. They literally tweet everything out of X now. That's their officially policy center, which is so ridiculous.
They were fighting with people today.
Stifled there.
Did you see that? Did you see that, y'all? They were fighting. Like, we got government agencies like clapping back at and I don't mean like just like normal professional. I mean like they're acting like a Wendy's social media account, like, and they're coming out swinging at people. And like, yeah, it would be funny if it wasn't my government, right? Like, that's the thing. It's like, it's funny when it's a corporation, not when it's a government.
You guys are crazy. You guys are crazy. Come on. We all know that X, when they had the Twitter files, debunked all of this conservative media, and it was all the left wing that was influencing social media and censoring the right wing people. Come on. Didn't we? Oh, wait. No, that's not quite how that worked out.
That's never. Nope. Never did it.
No. That did not work.
It's mind blowing that this is the United States of America right now.
Every day, Lisa. I'm like, how are we here? But I want to say, because I told you all this, but I didn't tell the people that are watching this, that I just before we jumped on this live saw a post that my uncle had posted on Facebook, and he's a retired pastor. He's liberal, but he's in a rural South Carolina community, and he posted.
He's the one guy.
Their family. They voted for Obama.
The one guy in South Carolina.
I saw I had opened up Facebook to try to come in and like put the link in and do all this stuff, and I saw that he had posted 6 days ago and was saying how the video that the president had posted was like racist and outrageous, and like just how like sad he was to see that, and like the state of the country and blah blah blah, right? And so I'm like, oh no, like, oh dear, like, because I'm ready for these comments, right? Like, because I have to be honest, I've fought with some of his parishioners before, like kind of like nice, but not really. Like, I can't. That's why I stopped like going to look at it, because I was like, I can't. Like, it's like straight MAGA sometimes. So he's literally doing the Lord's work. Like, but most of these comments were actually in agreement of like, this is bad. Like, how far has our nation fallen? And there were some that weren't like that, but I agree with Chris in the sense that I was surprised at how quickly the tide turned and people stepped up. And while I agree, like what Melinda said, that they're not using the correct words and they're not denouncing it the way they should. He was definitely spanked after that. Like, that was like, he knew that was bad. And like we always say, he walks up to the line, puts his toe beyond it. And then when he realizes he's gone too far, he backed up. And what I tweeted today was like, but when he backs up, he kind of erases that line. And so when you walk back, you don't know where the line was in the first place. And this is how he keeps moving those goalposts over and over and over. So like good that people are seeing that this is a very harmful, racist, slur. Great. I'm glad that we all can agree on that. Bad that we don't say it more, and he keeps getting to get away with it basically and claim, like the Lion King video thing, like, and someone was like, yeah, there's no monkeys in Lion King. What are you talking about? Like, this is just like, even their excuses are absurd.
Listen to this. This was today also.
Mr. President, have you fired or disciplined that staffer who posted the video from your account that included the Obamas?
No, I haven't. That was a video on, as you know, voter fraud, and fairly long video, and they had a little piece and had to do with the Lion King. It's been very well, it's been shown all over the place long before that was posted. But that was a very strong, and I'm sure you saw it, a very strong piece on voter fraud, and the piece that you're talking about was all over the place many times, I believe for years.
He's right about that. That's not wrong, because Truth Social is a nightmare and they share racist stuff like that all the time. So just, I'm not defending him, but
anyone believe that it was a staffer by show of hands? Anybody believe?
Yeah, he's the staffer.
He's the staffer.
Was the staffer fired? He got to fire himself. There was no staffer.
No staffer.
Didn't he say at some point that he saw the video and he gave it to somebody to post or something like that?
He approved it.
I'm pretty sure.
I am fairly positive. I need to go back, and I mean, I'm gonna really have to dig through my stuff. But he has retweeted and retruthed so many things. I would not be surprised if that video was one of those things. I need to go back and find out, because like normally he doesn't post it from his account, right? Like, or he doesn't I don't know what the quote tweet is on Truth Social, but whatever that is called. He doesn't normally do those things. He'll just retruth it. So it's like a repost and it shows up in the feed, but it's not like from his account. And I guarantee you, he has shared that or worse, because I've caught him before. And I've been like, is nobody aware of the fact that the president's retweeting this? Like, that's amplification. Like, that's condoning it. By amplifying it, you're condoning it. Like, and of course he can say somebody else did it, or, he's not paying attention. But this is also why, like, none of our past presidents had social media. Like, they had social media teams, but they weren't tweeting. They were busy running the fucking country. They weren't on Truth Social ranting in the middle of the night. And so they always had that plausible deniability. Whereas we know he tweets. We know this. We've heard stories about ketchup and all kinds of things. Like, we know he reads things and gets mad about it because he's all up in social media.
He won't let them take his phone. The fact that the sitting president of the United States of America has a fucking cell phone.
That's crazy.
He won't let them take away from him. I don't know how many times it's probably already been compromised by who knows who all over the place.
I'm honestly surprised you're right. We haven't had more Signal chat.
Our cabinet members use Signal rooms, and we already know that's been compromised. Time and again. It's bizarre that this is our sitting government right now.
Go ahead.
Sorry. The connection that this is what I always rant to Chris. Poor Chris. Like, he just hears me all the time ranting. Like, I just go and dump all these thoughts.
We do the same thing.
It's all connected in this authoritarian power grab. Like, if you look at like this racism, it goes with the Christian nationalism. They link up, and then you see it permeate through everything. Like, and all of the things that are bad are coming from that place of racism. Like, and this is what I don't understand, that I will never really understand and comprehend with white people, is that like, you do not benefit from racism. And this should show you that. Like, this should be the thing that wakens people up to see that, like, in fact, doing that is hurting everybody. We all suffer for that. And it's hard to imagine that there's going to be a lower bar, but we know that there will be. Like, this wasn't the worst thing that's going to happen. And that was kind of the moment where I was like, fuck, like, this is like, because having taught government to students that are in high school, they're about to be adults. And like, like back then I was all like, yay, our government's like amazing and like whatever. Cause you have to get them excited about government, right? Like that's what you do is like, you try to get them excited. And like, God bless you if you're a teacher out there right now trying to do this, because my God, like it's so hard to separate out what good there was in our government and then what it is now. And it's not going to be the same until we address the races. Like this, now we can't not do it. Like the people who wanted to maybe say there wasn't a case for it, now that we can't not do that, and it's going to get worse. And we need to be calling on our politicians to say the words, like right to condemn it. And this is why the primaries are really important. And we're gonna, I don't think we have it today, but like next live, which is not going to be next week, but it will be the week after. We'll bring the dates of the primaries. We'll get those. And if anybody knows them now and wants to put them in the comment section, you can do that. Like that'd be helpful. But we want to make sure everybody kind of has an understanding of early voting is starting for a lot of places. Lisa, you can probably, the dates for Texas. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I do want to mention Texas, please. Early voting starts on Tuesday, next Tuesday. And there's a lot of fuckery going on, a lot of confusion. Like I myself am in a newly created district, 35. I have been in Henry Cuellar's district 21 plus years, and thank everything holy, I am no longer in that man's district. You wouldn't know it to look up every possible voting website. Right now, if you were to go, on like voter.gov or texas.gov or every website, it would still show that I am in House District 28. So for every voter in Texas, it's extremely confusing. Only today did those websites finally update. You have to look in who represents me, but you have to scroll all the way down, and it finally updated in red at the very bottom. For 2026, with our newly gerrymandered districts, it finally updated. I'm in District 35. Okay, but early voting, and you go to your Democratic headquarters, your local headquarters, and you can find their phone number. Just look it up in your local areas to get your sample ballots. Please, I beg you. Early voting is just so very, very important.
You don't get a sample ballot in the mail?
I'm sorry?
You don't get a sample ballot in the mail in Texas? It's not automatically sent?
No, that would be too easy.
Okay.
For
us Californians, that's crazy. But
Can I just add one more quick thing, important thing? For anybody who's like, irate, like, what can I do? Like, this is crazy, all this bullshit. Go to SeanForGeorgia.com and volunteer, or go to mobilize.us and volunteer for that campaign. Now, that's Marjorie Taylor Greene's seat. And you might be going, isn't that a red seat? It is a red seat. But we just saw 37, it's 19-point seat. It's a Republican plus 19, but we just saw a 31-point swing in Texas, and we saw a 37-point swing in Louisiana. And so we could win that seat. If we win that seat, we are like this close to taking back the House. There's another congressman in Florida who the rumor is he's going to be resigning, and he's going to be giving up his seat. If we win those two seats, we could win the House.
And here's what's important.
Volunteer.
I know it's really easy to be discouraged by trolls and bots and everything online, but stats in Texas are showing, they're proving, we just had 2 blowout elections. Taylor Remmett in Tarrant County, he's the one who had the 31-point swing. 51% of Republicans showed up at the ballot box. 35% of Democrats, 14% of independents. He had a 31-point swing. That means that Republicans voted for the Democratic candidate. Everyone is seeing what's happening in this country. Nobody wants to see their neighbors picked up by ICE and disappeared, kidnapped, killed on the street. No one wants to see this. Nicole Thompson just became the mayor in Leander, Texas. That is in Williamson County where I used to live. It is deeply red. It's always been red. This has never happened in Williamson County, not in Leander, Texas. I literally filed a federal lawsuit against Leander Independent School District in 2011. This is unheard of. She got 57% of the vote. The two Republicans combined got 43% of the vote. There's no runoff. She is the fucking mayor of Leander, Texas. That means Republicans voted for her as well. Forget what you're seeing online. Don't get distracted by bots or trolls. Republicans are voting for Democrats in all of these races. It is important that we invite everyone in. Don't get distracted. Don't start mouthing out with fuck around, find out, all of that kind of crap, because everyone sees what's happening. No one likes what they're seeing. So we need to get out the vote for everyone. Early voting is happening nationwide.
It's the other thing a lot of people don't understand is that most of the volunteering that you can do right from your living room, no matter where you live, anywhere in the world, because you go on the computer, they teach you how to use the phone banking system or text banking system. And then you just like contact voters. And it's actually, you're usually only contacting Democrats and people who are persuadable. Friendlies. Right. So it's great. So, and you feel empowered when you do it.
I want to just quickly do the wrap up call to action, because that's now what we're talking about. So like on this end note, I don't have the graphic, but it's fine. Plug in to your communities, because a lot of the fear that's around like election interference, we can stave off by being involved. So like if you can volunteer to be a poll worker, or Adam brought this up last week, and this was a really good suggestion. If you can early vote, and you should if you're in a safe district, right? Like we need to go to the places where we can be there to help make sure that those districts are safe for people to vote in. Mm-hmm. And this starts with everybody being involved in their communities. So this is where you got to get plugged in, like grab a friend, like maybe somebody that's not as political, and you say like, hey, like I want to like figure like how we can help out on election day. And you can plug into your local resources. We'll have some lists coming up, but you can find them like, right.
IWillVote.com.
That's a good one. But ultimately, I just want to impress upon you that it's going to take us, not just Congress, but us identifying where we know it's not like where they're going to target, where ICE is going to target, because they don't have to target everywhere. Chris Q said this too, right? Like they don't have to win every district. They just have to win some strategic ones. So we figure out where those are and where those polling places and precincts that aren't going to be like that might be targeted by ICE. And then we have strategies. We come up with a plan. And some of that will be showing up in person, and some of it will be advocacy work online, like Lisa and Melina were talking about as well. So I think that what you need to do to stave off that fear is get involved. The more you can empower yourself to do that, and the better. And find people like us will help you. Like message us, we will help you. If we don't have the answer, we will get you to somebody who does. So I think that's just find somebody that can help you get plugged in. And that's your homework for this live, is to get plugged in.
Like Casey was saying, on our future lives, all the way through midterms, definitely in our chat, if you know about a special election, if you know about the upcoming election, registration deadlines, early voting, any tips, throw them in our chats and we will pop them on the screen and even talk about them. Especially, usually we do that towards the end, but do it all night long and we'll just recap them. And on that note, the only thing more powerful than hate is love. Bad Bunny. That was just, all the hate that went out to this man and his performance. It was just beautiful. You didn't have to understand a word of Spanish. That was the America I live in. And honestly, if you're a Christian, if you're on the right and claim to be conservative, you should love family. You should love hard work. You should love,
marriage,
even together, marriage, all of those things.
Neither
And
do I.
you know, instead we get like, oh, he's not American or whatever. So, which is just ignorant as fuck. So this
That was
to
wonderful.
me, this 1 hour week, this whole thing. So on that note,
Benito
oh, and
Antonio.
we won't be on. We won't be on next Thursday. The next time will be the Thursday after. But thanks for joining us.
Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might suggest that we have kind of intro and exit music, and if I could just randomly pick any songs, maybe I would pick Lawyers, Guns, and Money. Maybe I would pick Lawyers in Law.
We'll have to take a vote.
I fought the law and the law won. But if you have to do something else, okay. Maybe Bad Bunny isn't a bad choice.
Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
All right, everybody.
All
All
right,
right.
good night.
Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Good night.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.